It's the end of 2023. Is Sacramento real estate selling for more or less than it was at this point in 2022? Are home prices trending upward or downward? What about interest rates? Inventory's been low. Is that picking up? All that, and I look into my crystal ball and use real data and market history and gaze into 2024. It's the 2023 Sacramento real estate market year-end wrap-up. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Realtor Brendan Mohr in Sacramento. Now, if you've watched my channel before, I like to start off with some mortgage data. I'm not a loan officer, so I shared this website, Mortgage News Daily, which surveys mortgage brokers from around the country with their average rate for a conventional mortgage. This one shows it just above 7%. This little green number here means it fell a little bit today. Interest rates actually change multiple times every business day. And if I did this maybe a few weeks ago, you would see this number isn't 7.04%, it's 8.5%. Rates had risen quite significantly from the end of August all the way into November. And it really affected the market, and you will see some of that in the data. But now they've fallen significantly due to some economic data. If you are looking for a mortgage, I have mortgage brokers who get wholesale rates that are lower than this. So please reach out to me, because just today alone, I saw this not at 7.04%, it was at 6 5/8 for a conventional mortgage. And now there's lots of different loan types out there, and I can talk about some of this stuff all day long, but I like to refer you to a mortgage broker. All right, so let's look at some real data. So this is a report that shows the resale homes in Sacramento County. This doesn't show most of new construction. Now, if you're ever looking for new construction, always contact a realtor before you ever go to the sales office, because once you go to the sales office, they sign you up and you are now their client. You can no longer have someone on your side negotiating for you. And there's a lot that can be lost if you don't do that. So please reach out to your favorite realtor before you ever go to a new construction site. But this shows resale homes this is Sacramento County. I choose Sacramento County because there's a lot of uniformity. I'm going with half acre and smaller. I used to go with quarter acre and smaller, but now I'm going half acre and smaller because there's a lot of more luxury homes that are on up to a half an acre. And of course, there's homes on larger than that, but a lot of the data really ends up changing a lot. It's a lot more varied when you start to really increase the acreage. That's why I'm not choosing to go with Placer County or El Dorado County in these reports. I work in both those counties, but you have a lot of rural properties, a lot more than you do in Sacramento County by comparison. So here's this first graph here. This is for sale homes, sold homes, and pending homes going all the way to the end of November of 2023. You see it starts in September, and then right over here is November of last year. We had about 1,600 homes for sale, 730 homes went pending, and 750 sold. Now, solds are typically homes that went pending the prior month. So this year, in November, significantly lower inventory and lower sales, but about the same number of pendings. So that's interesting. We're probably going to see a pretty good amount of sales in December, but we'll see. And a lot of that's because interest rates started to really rise towards the end of August. They went up about 1.5% between August to October. It was quite a significant rise. And all of a sudden, starting in mid to late November, we started to see about a full point drop. So that's really nice. And it may not be those great 2.5%, 3% rates that we saw before, and we'll very likely never see those ever again. But when we've seen interest rates drop by that amount, a full percent, we saw that earlier in the year in May, June area, and we started to see home sales and home prices rise significantly during that time. So you're looking for a lower rate to get a lower payment and waiting to purchase, then just know that what we've seen is it drives more people to come out, and we see home prices actually moving upward during that time. So month over month for sale homes down 2.7%, down about 29% year over year. So inventory is down. This number of for sale homes down 30% year over year. Number of sold homes 20% down month over month. That's pretty normal because we start to get the holiday dip. We get a holiday dip every year other than 2020. In the last 10 years, 2020 is the only year that I haven't seen that. And that's because of the crazy wacky COVID time. And now that's 18% down year over year for the month for number of sold homes. So even though it was down 30% for sale, it's down 17% sold. So that's not terrible, but not as good as what I would have expected. But rates did suddenly shoot up more than I would have thought. Pending is about flat month over month and about 2% down year over year. So that's not bad considering there's so much less inventory. So that's not bad for people who are sellers or they just want to gain equity, which if you look at the history of real estate, gaining equity is what has happened historically for the long term. This next graphic is dollar per square foot. That's a good medium way to value a home for kind of an average home. But back in September, $322 a foot. It was dropped during that holiday dip. November of last year, $307 a foot. November of this year, $327 a foot. Real estate prices going up per foot. We are down 1.5% month over month, 6.5% year over year. So yeah, I mean, they've been somewhat trending over the past year. They've been trending higher. They're currently trending lower, which happens. But I think this is a kind of a wavy line upward was what we're likely going to be seeing. This next graphic here shows the over and under by percentage of a home's list price. Homes have been selling in November at 98% of the list price. That means there's been a fair amount of homes that have been selling, under the list price. That's likely because of those interest rates and homes maybe not priced appropriately for the interest rate increase that we suddenly saw over a period of a very short amount of time this year, in a couple of months. But it was 94% of the list price in November of last year. So this next graphic here underneath that is consecutive days on market. November last year, it was 40 days consecutive on market. Homes are on the market for a lot less time. It's 25 days this year. And that's about a third drop in average consecutive days on market. It's an 8.79% increase month over month, and that's pretty common when we're heading into the holiday season. This next graphic here shows the average price for a list price for sale and an actual sold price. So when this line starts to separate, it tells me that there's a market change happening. And what the market change really was interest rates shooting up very quickly over a matter of a couple of months and the market having to adjust. Affordability got lower, so the average price that people were able to afford lowered, while the average price for sale tried to stay the same, and they clearly had to adjust, as you see in the sales price and as you saw on the over-under of list price from the previous graphic. And this last one here shows why we are still seeing real estate prices hold and often rise, and that's inventory. There's not a whole lot on the market. We are at 1.8 months of inventory. That means in less than 2 months, if nothing hits the market, mathematically, nothing would be on the market anymore. It was 2.1 months this time last year. This is all considered a seller's market. And this has been pretty consistent. This is about 2018 numbers here when it comes to this level of inventory. And we're seeing a rising market at that time. So I've seen a little bit of stuff in the media that home prices, some index or whatever says home prices, or rather home sales are down, 50% year over year. And you want to look at that per market. In California, and especially in certain parts of California, Sacramento, there's nowhere near as much building as there is for demand. That may be different in other states. I couldn't tell you exactly because I study our market. In California, you're $100,000 before you even break ground for permits and fees. It takes over a year just to get something built in many cases. So we're way behind. We've been way behind in demand since the Great Recession. All right, so let's talk about this. So there's some data there. Now let's talk about what I mentioned in the lead is real estate selling for more or less than at this point in 2022. Yeah, real estate prices have risen. It's something I've been talking about all year. That's what I expected real estate to be doing. So here we are. So any of the naysayers, I bet there's a lot of naysayers saying that, oh no, wait for this crash. I saw some video or some blog or something because of this or that or whatever, that the market's all going to crash. And just look at the history of the FRED index. There's so many different indexes to look at, but the Federal Housing Index is a great one. It shows you the history of real estate. Sometimes short term isn't great, but so if you're scared about the market, just look at that. I know a lot of people who have really missed out on the real estate market because they listened to the doomsayers. Now, something to always remember about real estate, the things that cause big dips. Inventory has to rise, so there has to be a plethora of supply. Affordability has to be bad. Now, we're dealing with an affordability issue right now. We're not dealing with an extreme inventory issue. We haven't been dealing with that in a long time. And there has to be something to force people to have to sell their homes for less. Otherwise, they're just not going to sell. And that's what happened in the Great Recession. We can talk about that in great detail, but in the Great Recession, a lot of people had to because their mortgages adjusted out wildly. They went from like a $2,000 a month payment to a $4,000 a month payment, and the loans went away, so nobody could even qualify for a loan to buy that home. So there were some serious reasons why that happened, and is not currently happening. But all three of those things need to happen, and we're just not seeing that. Now, are prices trending higher? Right now, they're starting to trend lower. We're in that holiday dip. We see that every holiday season. I think we're going to see them trend higher again. Somewhere around the third weekend of January is when all the buyers come out relative to the inventory. So really, before even spring is actually a pretty good time to sell. Spring looks really nice in the photos and everything, but you'll see that as long as the economy stays how it's going on the track that it is, and interest rates don't suddenly shoot up again because of some really crazy data out there, then we'll see the market kind of doing a little bit of a normal sort of spring buying and selling season. Let's see. Interest rates, yeah, I mean they've bounced around. Now, there's been all sorts of speculation whether the Fed's going to lower their rate, and that may have some sort of an effect on real estate prices and the rate for mortgages. Now, mortgage rates are very, very forward-looking, so changes in mortgage rates change a lot faster than what the Fed does. So if the trend is looking like inflation is coming down faster than they expected, or maybe the jobs report isn't as strong, which has been one of the big factors, the labor market has been extremely hot, then we'll have to see how interest rates react. Inventory is low, and will that be picking up? I think that we're going to start seeing more inventory, or at least more opportunities for buyers to find some homes. And it's one of the reasons why that we've seen low inventory is because it's a two-part thing. Everyone's thought about the homeowners who have a 2.5%, 3%, 3.5% mortgage rate. They don't want to change to a 7-8%, something like that. They end up downsizing and they end up paying more for the loan because the interest rate is so much more. But a lot of the reason why I'm seeing people not want to sell is because they can't find a home they want to buy. So it's a vicious little cycle. I think we start to see more homes hitting the market. The new normal is a higher interest rate. It's nowhere near historic highs where we're at right now. But again, what we've seen when interest rates drop, prices start to move up at a faster pace. So kind of decide what you want to do there. Now, looking into my crystal ball for the rest of the year, I think as long as the economy doesn't do something just really crazy, just there's some sort of massive fraud going on that was unforeseen. If you're in the market, if you think that you want to buy a home, then maybe it is your time. Give me a call. My information is right here on the channel. If you're looking to sell, I love marketing homes. That's my favorite thing to do. And of course, if you know anybody going through probate, I'm a certified probate and trust specialist. I'm one of the leading probate realtors in all of California. I do quite a bit of probate. Real estate sales are 10 times more complicated than you probably think they are, and probate sales are 10 times more complicated than those. And I do those all the time, and I have a great legal document assistant who will help people save many, many thousands of dollars in probate. And one thing that I hear this from people a lot, that a loved one, someone they know, they passed away, they maybe had a reverse mortgage, they hear that there's no equity in the home. I've seen so many situations where we're able to get proceeds for the family. We've seen situations where it's been 6 figures that they get when they thought nothing. And all it takes is for us to take a look at it. So if you're in a situation like that, reach out to me. I have a great professional team in the probate field. So that is my 2023 Sacramento real estate market wrap up. I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2024, and I hope to talk to you soon as well.